techniques, you got certain cooking competencies. But a lot of that can be talked about. Standard breading procedure is literally the way it is every single time. And the purpose is to basically protect a thin, delicate, either cut of meat, cut of fish, or vegetable usually. So it can be basically cooked in a high heat, little more oil situation than like say sauteing. So it's either a shallow fry or a deep fry. Different basically is the amount of oil that you use it in. Okay, we're gonna do a shallow fry today, that's exactly it. And that is most generally, it's often utilized for basically cutlets. Okay, I don't care where you're gonna do a cutlet from, it's basically a single muscle mass, meaning there's not a bunch of sinews running through it. So most steaks that you're gonna work with that we eat are basically one muscle mass, meaning one single grain pattern. We talked about when we cut the top sirloin last week, we wanted to cut a cross grain on it. Okay, the less the muscle mass is used, the smaller the grain pattern will be on it. Pigs do not move around as much as a cow. Their food is easier for them to get or lower to the ground. They don't lift their head all the time. So you don't see as large of a grain pattern in the pork. It's generally inherently tender. It's not basically, so you don't have to worry about the tender cuts and the tougher cuts. Okay, the more muscle mass is used and the more tendons that are in it, there are different cooking methods you could use for them. Does that make sense? Okay, this is the loin on the back of the pig. So on a cow, the basically sirloin, the short loin, and the rib basically are cut into basically two different subprimals. Okay, whereas on a pig, the whole thing is broken down across the way, and that's because the pork belly is actually as valuable as anything else on the pig. So they want the whole pork belly to come off as well, so it sits directly underneath this whole loin. So they want the whole thing to be intact on the pork belly, and they want the whole loin to be intact. Okay, they do this with bones, we consider it pork chop. It's 11 bones in the middle they utilize, the center cut would be the 8 on that. That's what we call a sidebar tangent. But the fact of the matter is, you're looking for single muscle masses in scallopinis. You don't want to have basically different grain patterns mixing and finding each other. And that's why the loin is very, very appropriate for this. We have a single muscle mass all the way through, which really, really well for what we're trying to do here. Okay, standard breading procedure for these guys, once we have them cut to this, is can we whisk that too? Please. I got it. Then let's go ahead and get like the half cup of water in there as well. About a half cup of water. Okay, so we're making what's called an egg wash. Mixture of egg and water. That's really no real ratio on it. You just want to get basically a little bit of water in the product as well. You don't need as much egg. You want to basically always go dry, wet, dry. Just always think about that. Dry, wet, dry. Okay, so the meat is already kind of wet. So we're going to put it into flour and that's going to dry it all off and allow the egg to stick to it. If you try to put the meat directly into the egg, it'll just sheet off.
Half a cup of water.
Wet, wet.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so by drying it out, what we do is by drying it out, we allow the egg to stick to it. Once the egg is sticking to it, we put basically our breadcrumbs on. That's simple. But it always has to be dry, wet, dry, and in that order. Usually it's flour, usually it's an egg wash, and usually it's a breadcrumb of some sort. We're using something called panko, which is a dissected Japanese breadcrumb to get it really, really, really crispy. You can buy them with different size gradients on them. What they do is they take bread and they actually soak it, and they make a big mass of it, and then they dry the whole thing, and then they break the whole thing up into sizes they want to. It's called dissecting bread. Okay, and that's how they make panko. It's not quite as absorbent as your traditional breadcrumb. Okay, breadcrumbs, dried breadcrumbs, fresh breadcrumbs. Okay, fresh breadcrumbs are always going to be more absorbent. I use fresh breadcrumbs for like going inside my meatloaf or inside basically meatballs, different things along those lines. Okay, or making a crab cake. Okay, I'm going to use a fresh breadcrumb for that. Okay, if you use a fresh breadcrumb for frying in it, because it's so absorbent, it's going to drink up a lot of it. You do want to use a dried breadcrumb. If you have a choice, you can use panko because it absorbs even less than a traditional dried breadcrumb. Too much info right there? Okay. Can I get a piece out of it? I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to be full. Just left. Do you guys like compare the angles and do edits, or like how does that work out?
No.
There's no angle comparison or edits.
It's just raw.
Okay, so what we want to do here is I want to protect the pork a little bit while I use this big, mean mallet. Okay, so I like to put a little bit of plastic wrap around it, and then you're stronger than this, okay? I give it a little bit of room so it can grow. The idea of it is to spread it out and make it uniform so that when we bread it, it's the same thickness all the way through. You don't really need tenderizing. As I said, this is predominantly tender. It is. That's not what we're looking to do. What I do want to do is just spread it. You're stronger than it, trust me. Again, I'm using the soft side on it. You can even use the smooth side on it. Okay, but these teeth are a little aggressive for it. What's that? Yeah, it's all delicious. I use my fingers literally to try and find high spots. Once I have that sorted out, call it a day. I don't want a doorstop, which I have right there. So it's skinny right here, and it's fat right here. I'm going to repound that corner because I don't like it. Okay, I'm going to put the pork in the flour, put the pork in the egg, and put the pork in the breadcrumbs. Everything I have over there is contaminated. Contaminated pork is contaminated with eggs. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to use this product and get rid of it. Right? Don't cross-contaminate, don't be silly. I'm going to put pork into egg. Everyone's like, ooh, you're cross-contaminated. No, I'm not. I'm breading my pork. I'm going to cook it. Okay. Now, if I take those breadcrumbs and put them back in the container, that's cross-contaminated. If I say, hey, can I sift the flour and use it again? That's contaminated, right? Okay. So just trying to be aware of what we're trying to say. Pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Don't just assume because you pounded it 5 times, it's done. Look at it. Make sure it's uniform. That's what I'm doing. I'm not looking at size or anything. When I cook these, we're going to basically cut them on a bias and I'll put little bunny ears up. So it doesn't really matter on how, like, I mean, I'm not looking for a super uniform oval or anything along those lines. But I do want it to be as uniform for the cooker. Okay, and that's what I'm really trying for. Okay, now here, when you're doing this, it's wet hand and dry hand. Okay, if you get basically, if both fingers, the wet and dry, you start breading your fingers, and you get these big gorilla fingers, and it doesn't work out. Okay, it really does happen. So you don't want to bread your fingers. So what I like to do is basically have a wet hand and a dry hand. Into the flour, knock it off. Into the egg, now I have a wet hand. Again, always try and get off anything extra. It's not going to help you on it. You want to make sure you have an even coating all the way through, then get off anything extra. Hey, try it. Do this right. You should need two of them for what we're doing. I got to start right off and we need to cut them. You guys need to continue to pound them and then bread them. Does that make sense? So pound them and bread them.
How many are making?
What's up?
Two students.
Like 2 per student. 2 per student.